Have you ever wondered what happens if a turkey escapes before Thanksgiving dinner? What if he's not just running away, but running towards his true destiny? Meet Toby, a turkey with feathers the color of autumn leaves and eyes as bright as shiny chestnuts. He wasn't like the other turkeys on the farm. While they gobbled happily in their pen, Toby gazed at the tall, colorful forest beyond the fence. A wooden fence, weathered and gray, separated his small world from a giant, mysterious one. He would press his face against the cool wood, his little turkey heart thumping with curiosity. He dreamed of crunchy leaves, tall trees, and an adventure bigger than any dinner table. One crisp morning, just days before the big feast, Toby noticed something. A loose board at the bottom of the fence. This was his chance. With a wiggle and a squish, he squeezed through the gap. Freedom. The air felt different out here, fresh and smelling of pine and damp earth. He was finally free. Toby scampered into the woods, his little feet pattering on a carpet of red and gold leaves. The trees towered above him like friendly giants, their branches reaching for the bright blue sky. He felt a thrill of excitement. No more fences, no more pens. Just open forest. He found a hollow log, cozy and hidden, and decided this would be his new home. He had been smart. For weeks, he had secretly stashed extra corn kernels and tasty berries in a small pouch he made from a large leaf. He had enough food to last him for a long, long time. He felt so proud and safe. But as the sun began to set, casting long, spooky shadows through the trees, he heard a tiny rustling sound. Peeking out, he saw a small field mouse with big, sad eyes and droopy whiskers, shivering in the cold. "What's wrong, little one?" Toby asked, his voice a soft gobble. The mouse, whose name was Squeaky, looked up with a sniffle. His tiny paws were empty. "I can't find any food," he whispered, his voice trembling. "The cold came so fast and all the berries are gone. My family is so hungry." Toby looked at Squeaky's sad face. Then he looked at his own secret stash of delicious corn and juicy berries inside his log. He had saved it all for himself. He had planned to eat it all alone, to survive. But seeing Squeaky's hungry little face made his own full belly feel a little empty. Was this what being free was all about? Hiding away while others were hungry. The thought made his feathers feel less fluffy. He remembered the farmer's wife, how she always left extra scraps for the barn cats, even when food was low. He hadn't understood it then, but now, looking at Squeaky, a new feeling started to grow in his heart. Toby took a deep breath. He waddled back into his log and came out with a pawful of his best corn kernels. He held them out to the little mouse. "Here," Toby said gently, "take this. For you and your family." Squeaky's eyes went wide with disbelief, then filled with happy tears. "Oh, thank you. Thank you," he squeaked, gathering the corn. He scurried away, his tail held high. Watching him go, Toby felt a warmth spread through his chest that had nothing to do with his feathers. It felt better than having a full pouch of food. Just then, a bushy-tailed squirrel with a frantic look on her face scampered down a nearby oak tree. She was chattering nervously, her paws wringing together. Her fur was a beautiful reddish brown, but her face was etched with worry. She was clearly distressed. "Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear," the squirrel, named Hazel, chattered to herself. "I buried my acorn somewhere around here, but the leaves have covered everything. I can't find my winter supply. My babies will have nothing to eat." She ran in circles, digging frantically here and there, but only finding dirt and roots. Toby watched her panicked search. He thought again about his own secret stash. He had plenty, more than enough for one turkey. He could easily spare some more. He remembered his plan to hide and stay safe, but seeing Hazel's panic made his own safety feel selfish. He called out, "Excuse me, I might have something that could help." Hazel stopped, her little black eyes fixing on Toby. She looked suspicious at first. A turkey out here? It was unusual. Toby didn't wait for her to ask. He went back to his log and returned with a handful of crunchy nuts and seeds he had collected. "I have extra," he said simply, placing the food at the base of her tree. "Please take it for your family." Hazel's expression softened from panic to pure astonishment. She crept forward, sniffed the offering, and then looked up at Toby, her eyes full of gratitude. "You would do that for me? A stranger?" she asked, her voice soft. Toby just nodded. "It's what friends do," he gobbled, feeling braver and wiser than he ever had on the farm. As Hazel gathered the nuts, a new feeling settled over Toby. This wasn't just about escaping. It was about connecting. The forest wasn't a place to hide. It was a place to live, and living meant helping others. Soon, the news of the kind turkey spread through the woods. A family of rabbits with floppy ears and twitching noses hopped over, their bellies rumbling. A grumpy-looking badger, who usually kept to himself, shuffled out of his den, drawn by the scent of berries. Even a shy deer with gentle brown eyes peeked through the trees. They all looked hungry and worried. The forest was beautiful, but the coming winter made food scarce. Toby looked at the crowd gathering around his log. His food pouch was getting lighter and lighter and lighter. A part of him felt a flicker of fear. What would be left for him? He was the one who was supposed to be hiding. But then he looked at their hopeful faces. Squeaky the mouse was there, sharing a kernel with his tiny sister. Hazel the squirrel was pointing Toby out to her little ones. They weren't just a crowd of hungry animals anymore. They were his neighbors, his friends. This felt more like a community than the farm ever did. On the farm, everyone was just waiting. Here, they were living together. Toby made a decision. He opened his leafy pouch wide and announced, "There's enough for everyone. Today, we will all have a feast." He shared everything he had. The corn, the berries, the nuts, the seeds. He gave it all away until his secret stash was completely empty. The animals cheered. They ate together under the autumn sun, a patchwork family of fur and feathers. The air was filled with happy chirps, squeaks, and chatters instead of Toby's lonely gobbles. This was better than any feast he could have had alone. As they shared the food, the animals shared their own gifts. Squeaky and his family knew the best places to find fresh water. Hazel the squirrel showed Toby which mushrooms were safe to eat and which trees had the coziest hollows for shelter. The badger, whose name was Barnaby, knew how to dig for tasty roots deep in the ground. The deer knew the secret paths through the forest to avoid danger. Suddenly, Toby wasn't just a lone turkey with an empty food pouch. He was part of a team. He had given them his food, and in return, they were giving him their knowledge, their friendship, and their protection. He realized he had never been safer. True safety wasn't about hiding with a hoard of food. It was about building a community of friends who cared for each other. Toby had found a new kind of thankfulness. It wasn't just about being grateful for what he had. It was about being grateful for what he could give. It wasn't about escaping a dinner. It was about creating one for everyone. That evening, as the stars twinkled above the forest canopy, Toby nestled into a warm burrow Barnaby, the badger, had helped him find. He wasn't afraid of being hungry. He knew his new friends would help him, just as he had helped them. He had escaped the farm to save himself, but he had discovered that the best way to be safe and happy was to care for others. The great turkey escape wasn't just an escape. It was the beginning of his real life, filled with friends, kindness, and true gratitude. And that was something to be thankful for every single day. Thanks for coming along with us for this Thanksgiving adventure. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Good night, little one.